Мучается, сомневается. Ему все время надо доказывать себе и окружающим, что он чего-нибудь достоит.
Most articles talk about Tarkovsky's diaries, or the legend of the burnt negatives that forced him to reshoot almost the entire film. But few talk about the film itself, its pulse, its strange philosophy, and the emotion that it stirs. So let's try. Let's open the rule book of the Stalker. The film begins in a room soaked in dull yellow. The palette is established, not bleak but bruised. Dull colors fascinate great filmmakers. Kubrick had orange, Fincher has green, Tarkovsky had rust and ash. Then comes the tremor. A train passes. The table shudders. That train will stay with us, introducing the stalker, carrying him towards the zone, and finally humming in the film's last side. It's not transport, it's presence. The train gives the camera purpose, the world motion. Tarkovsky, as always, rewrites the grammar of cinema.
The stalker leaves behind his grieving wife, steps into a crumbling bar where he meets his two companions, the writer and the professor. The writer, cynical, broken, certain that faith is fraud and art is meaningless. The professor, calm, rational, obedient. And the stalker, the guide, the believer. Each man will carry his own heresy into the zone. When they cross the threshold, the rules appear quite absolute. Respect the zone, follow each other, never retrace your path. But the zone has its rule of its own, and it changes at will.
As they enter the dry tunnel, a tomb of stone and echoes. When the professor breaks the rule and retraces his steps, the stalker trembles. No one has ever defied the zone. Then something extraordinary happens. The zone speaks. A whisper, scripture from the book of Revelation. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Faith floods the film. The stalker murmurs verses from Luke. Christ resurrected in Emma. Tarkovsky's theology is not about religion, it's about belief. Stalker becomes a Christ figure, guiding two doubters towards salvation they do not seek. And from the mist emerges the stray dog, the zone's silent emissary.
At the tunnel's mouth, Faith falters. The stalker, our so-called holy fool, cheats, sending the writer first. For all his stalker faith, he too fears the zone. The hypocrisy humanizes him. The zone that has devoured his mentor, Porcupine, why would it spare him? Yet the zone keeps on bending its laws. It lets the writer walk through the sand room untouched, letting doubt breathe. Inside the telephone room, the stalker recites his father's poem. But there has to be more. There always has to be more. For Tarkovsky, art is pilgrimage, and the zone, its cruel god.
And the final act shatters the rulebook. The professor, once the man of logic, becomes the most emotional, ready to blow the zone apart. And the writer, the cynic, becomes the believer, sensing what the room truly grants. And the stalker, the deviant, collapses in despair. None of them enter the room. No wishes made. They remain defeated, unredeemed. The zone's true miracle was never granting desires. It was stripping men bare until nothing was left but their own reflection. And yet, the dog follows, the zone's final gift.
Back home, the stalker trembles. For the first time, he doubts. His wife asks him to visit the stalker and he whispers, "What if you fail?" Then she speaks and the film breathes again. Alyssa Friendlich delivers the quietest thunder in cinema. I'd rather know bittersweet happiness than a grey, uneventful life. Her words hold Tarkovsky's secret. A life without sorrow would be a life without joy. Pain is the soil from which hope grows, and hope is a rule the zone never breaks.
Then comes Martha, the stalker's daughter. She stares into the unseen, as if the zone still murmurs through her. She recites her grandfather's poem. I love your eyes, my darling friend. The glass quivers, but no train passes. It's Marta. The zone's Marta. The zone took her legs, but left her hope. And so maybe the stalker was never God's fool. Maybe belief was itself the zone's truest miracle. I don't know what happens after the credits roll, but I hope the stalker never stops believing. I hope Marta becomes his light. I hope faith survives, even in decay. Because as the zone whispers, there has to be more.